Well, hello there. Anyone who is watching this on the replay, I always like to jump right in and make sure that I don't spend a lot of time introducing the topic and talking about what's about to happen or waiting for people to come on. My name is Alan C. Paul. I am the creator and founder of God and Gigs, and this is a creative checkup. We've been trying to get back into our habit of doing our creative checkups, which is just a chance for you to kind of get a little bit of either a training or inspirational thought or something to help you with your creative life. If you're watching us in any of our platforms, God and Gigs at IG, or either here on YouTube or Facebook, any place like that, I just want to make sure that I kind of keep everybody in house, kind of in connection. So I want to do these videos pretty much every week. We were going every week, and now we've kind of started moving from Mondays to Fridays. So thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on a replay and if you're watching live, thank you for joining me. And I want to jump right into the topic that I felt like we should do today. But if you have a question or a comment or something where you want us to take a little bit of a turn in terms of something relating to your creative life, your business, your career, even something in terms of your spiritual life, in terms of how your creativity and your spirituality connect, if there's something like that that you want to talk about, go ahead and open it up, share it in the comments, and we can maybe take it that direction. I'll definitely be glancing over here in the comment section to see if anybody has anything to say, and then we can always take it in that direction. But what I wanted to talk about today is what to say to your audience day to day. And basically, what I'm trying to get at here is the fact that our creative careers, in our promotion and talking about our gigs or our jobs or whatever we're doing, our projects, oftentimes it can seem like we simply go from project to project, talking about what's happening next, what I'm working on, the studio thing I'm doing, and it can be kind of disjointed. In other words, you don't really have anything to say until you're doing something, you're working on something, and now it's time that you have to share something that's going on in your creative career. And that's when you post, or that's when you send emails, or that's when you put the word out, oh, this is happening. But when things are not happening, when you're maybe in the middle of a project, there can be some kind of like question on what do I say? What do I talk to my audience about when there's nothing specific going on, or at least not time yet to promote something, or time to talk about something, and you don't want to talk about things when they're not quite ready to release. You want to come up with something to say or something to keep the energy going in your creative life in terms of, I hate saying just promotion. It's not promotion. It's really connecting with your audience, with the people who are following you, and having something to say when there's not a project going on. So if this resonates with you, if you've ever struggled with that, then go ahead and put a yes in the comments, or let me know something that lets me know that this is something that can help you. So the first thing I want to kind of really impress upon you as a creative, a fellow creative, is that people don't just want to know what you do, they want to know who you are. It's so easy for many of us to get stuck in the concept of, I'm an artist, so people are only interested in me for what I do. When I'm creating something, when there's a project coming out, when there's something to sell, when there's something to come to, that's pretty much what people are looking for, whether it be in social or whether it be in my email list. All I do is just tell people what I do. But what we forget oftentimes is that people in the outside the creative life really want to know who you are. They want to be a part of the process and learn what it's like to create the things that you're creating, and kind of get that behind the scenes look at who you are when you're not on stage, when you're not in the studio, or when you're not creating. And I know this is kind of a back and forth with a lot of people who don't want to give away their privacy. They don't want to let everybody into everything about your business in terms of social media or in terms of connecting with your audience in email. You just kind of say, all right, well, I don't want to tell them all about, what I had for dinner and what my kids are doing. I want to keep my professional life, my professional life, and my personal life, my personal life. I totally understand that. However, there is a drawback to that, because if you never tell people what's going on outside of your life, outside of your creative life, and the only time you show up is when there's something to tell or show up to something to promote, then people don't have a connection with you outside of that. And it can become very much where you kind of just become someone who just sells things and never deals with the. I'm sorry, someone just started started water next door, so I don't know if you heard that burst in the audio, but I'm like, wait, what just happened? Nothing's happening. I'm just got to keep focused. But anyway, the whole point of you sharing outside of your creative circle so that you're not only sharing things that you promote, not only sharing things that you do in the musical side or in your creative side, but that you're actually doing things that promote your actual life and talk about why you're doing what you're doing. That can connect much more deeply with people who are not musicians, who are not creatives, who are not artists. And then they get to see the real you because you're telling them the story behind the story. You're telling them the why behind what you are creating. If you do that, then you also now allow people to ask you questions and to start to create a dialogue. You see, when you're only sharing what you're doing and not telling you why, not telling them why, there's no dialogue. You're like, come see my show, come see this, come do this, come buy this. You're not creating a dialogue. There's nothing for them to say back to you. So if anybody's watching this, wait, I see, oh, is that Lawrence there? What's up, Lawrence? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you on YouTube there, man. So yeah, I want to make sure that I'm helping people like Lawrence, who's a good friend of mine, to connect with people when they are not creating. Lawrence, you're a teacher, so you know this very well when it comes to communicating with your parents. You've got to be able to tell them the why and the outside the line stuff that doesn't really have to do with the specific thing you're selling, this thing you're creating. You have to make something that really resonates with them and it creates a dialogue. So, what I'm really just putting in this creative checkup is some tips and some pointers on how to create that dialogue so that you're not just showing up each time there's something to talk about in your creative life, but you're showing up day to day. Every day, you're actually sharing something that can benefit your audience, that can benefit the people that are following you. And again, I know this sounds like a social media talk, but it really isn't. It's more of a mindset on how you can share more consistently with your audience so that you're always building that rapport with those people who are going to follow your art, who are going to listen, who are going to buy, who are going to be a part of that conversation with you. So the first thing, as I mentioned, would be to always think of how can I show up for them to show them something that they can dialogue with. A great example is in email. I've mentioned email a lot. If you've noticed some of the different trainings I've done, I've been talking more and more, trying to get everybody in my God and Gigs community to make sure you have an email list, because if Facebook shuts you down or IG shuts you down, you should have an email list where you can connect with your people. And so one thing I've been doing is now doing more talking about things that are going on in my life in between shows, in between the things that I'm doing, just letting them know, hey, here's what's going on. Here's some things that I've been interested in. I've been interested in more cooking lately. I know, surprise, I'm not the cook of the house, but I'm trying to get more in cooking. So sharing a recipe that I'm working on, sharing the fact that I tried this. How many of you people out there in my fan base or whatever are actually, cooking at home? Who's doing more of this? Who's doing more of these little things that have nothing to do with music, but it totally opens people up to what I am about and what I'm trying, and that I'm trying new things. And again, it starts the dialogue. Now, of course, I will not stick on that. This is not a cooking show. It's not a cooking channel. I'm not going to try to do an entire series of, discussions about what, to prepare for dinner. What I'm letting them do is letting them into another part of my life that has nothing to do with music. And we can start a dialogue and they can see me as more than just a musician. In the same way, when it comes to things that have gone wrong in my life, instead of only sharing the things that go well in my life, I'm going to start sharing what I call Four Fails Friday, which I did it this morning, and it was I just laughing, and I was asking my kids even, okay, they can tell me plenty of things I've failed at. I should be able to do fails easy. But just being a little more lighthearted and just saying, hey guys, this week we had a huge plumbing issue and this broke, and people are like, well, what does that have to do with music? The key is, it's not about just the music or about the art. It's about people getting to know you, and little things like that people can relate to. They can relate to, oh my gosh, I hate it too when there's an issue with my sink or plumbing and I got to call this guy and I can't use the water. And all of a sudden, the conversation shifts from just being about the music to being about what we share in common. So, day to day, you could do something like every Monday, we talk about either a motivational word or a motivational post. A lot of people do that. Maybe Tuesday, every Tuesday, maybe you can share a thought, something that really makes you think, something that makes you wonder about a certain thing. Like, I've heard funny ones where, why do hot dogs come in packs of 8, but hot dog buns come in packs of 12? Like silly stuff like that. You can come up with any kind of little thought. There are little memes, there are things that you can kind of share and talk about. And again, I'm not just talking about social, I'm also talking about email, I'm talking about in person, I'm talking about making sure the conversation is back and forth where you're asking people about things that they're interested in instead of only talking about what you're interested in and selling and giving them information on shows or art or the latest project. Because in between those projects, you got to have something to say, something to be interesting about. And here's a big one, guys. And by the way, if this is helping you, just hit a yes or a comment, or if you even tried this, if you even tried this in either your email list, and if you're interested in email, by the way, getting some help with email, I'm going to be probably doing some more things about that. Let me know in the comments if you have ever had this struggle with what do I say day to day in terms of posting or email or simply just relating with my audience. What do I say when there's not a project to promote or not a gig to promote? What do I do in the middle? What do I do day to day? So I mentioned things talking about stuff you're interested in, things where you might have had an issue or a failure or something that they can relate to, that people can relate to. You can also talk about something that you see in their feed. So let's say somebody in your audience or someone had something interesting going on, and then promoting them and talking about, oh, I noticed such and such was doing this, somebody was doing this, and showing that you are versus you simply reposting things that you are doing. If you look outside your circle and see something interesting happening and letting them know, hey, I pay attention to you, I see you, I'm posting something that you posted, that can become a huge way to say, oh, wow, this person sees me. This person is not simply interested in promoting themselves, but they also are looking out for other people. And this whole thing, everyone that's watching this, either on the replay or live with me, the whole point is get out of the process of only thinking about step by step, only the things that I do, but think more about how your audience and the people that are following you, what are they thinking about? How can you encourage them to be more interactive with you? Let me see. Lawrence here says, it is helping. I do this always, and it helps people connect with you more personally. It helps keep kids and families in band. By the way, you guys, if you're watching on, I believe on YouTube, and I should be resharing in the Restream app, Lawrence is a teacher. He's one of the guys that grew up with me, and we have been up there, Booker T. Washington, forever. And he is relating with the band. So yes, Lawrence, I totally agree with you. Like that's, especially as teachers, I don't teach in the public school anymore, but I remember like getting the parents to understand that this is something that's a day-to-day process, especially in practice and dealing with the kids and letting them know like, hey, you can't just like check out in between things. You got to keep this going. You got to keep practicing each day. You got to keep it consistent. And so you've got to be able to like make this a lifestyle more than just a day-to-day occurrence. Same thing occurs with professional gigs. If you want people to be a part of your world, you got to invite them to be a part of your world when you're not performing, so that when you do perform, there is a connection, there is a feeling of, I like this person, I know this person, I trust this person. And once again, if you need connection points, there's always social, but social is one of those few things that you should be doing. You should be doing way more than that in your creative career. You should have an email list. If you have text or some way of texting, you can text people if they give you permission. There are text feeds that can do that, obviously WhatsApp and things like that. But the most important part of this is not necessarily the method, but the mindset. The mindset is whatever you do, you got to have some way that you are connecting with your audience day to day. Not just when you're doing something, not just when it's time to sell, not just when you need to show up and you need a whole bunch of people in the building. Because if you haven't built that relationship, I heard somebody say this, and it's so true. Relationships online are just like relationships offline. You can't just show up and all of a sudden, you're at a dating site and the first day you expect there to be sparks and you guys are going to get married the next day. You got to build a relationship, and the only way you build a relationship is by getting to know people. And I can relate this even in the spiritual context. And the Bible talks about how you're not supposed to simply have just random friends, but there's a proverb that says that you have to choose your friends wisely. Okay, I'm going to find it if I can't look it up right now because I got my Bible right in front of me. But it says that someone that has many friends and just randomly, haphazardly gets friends is not the kind of person that's going to be surrounded by the right people. But when you choose your friends wisely and you connect with them directly and you really pay attention to who's in your circle, it benefits you. In the same way, I don't mean that you need to cherry pick your people that are following you, but you need to show that you're interested in them and that there is almost like a vetting process that you share and they share, and you continually grow in that relationship. And then you find out, oh my gosh, this person is someone that I will be relating to a lot inside my creative audience. They might be a super fan one day, who knows? But it starts with that person to person, one to one relationship that can't be done outside of just working day to day, learning what people want, need to hear, and want to know about you. That's the basic premise of today, guys. I wanted to share that with you because I felt, as I've been talking to many of my friends and the creators in this creative community, that was something that I would really want you all to focus on in the next week or so. Just try it out. If you haven't been posting or haven't been emailing about other things other than music, it's a great idea to simply jump in, start doing that, start sharing day to day. And if you have done this, by the way, Lawrence, just give me an example of something that you've shared if you're still watching, because I would love to know like what exactly you're doing, especially in the teaching space. How does that work specifically for you? Because that way we can kind of like share some tips and tidbits. I've mentioned a couple that I've done. The Fails Friday thing I tried today. I've done also where I've shared something about my cats recently. I shared something about the pets. And I'm not a cat person, by the way, but I shared something about my cats. And a lot of people got a kick out of that. And that's not my normal comments. That's not the things I usually share on social. And it's not the kind of stuff I email about. But it just opens up a whole new dialogue about what my life is like and what I care about or what I don't care about, what I enjoy, what I don't enjoy. So that whenever I talk about my music or my art or my books or anything, there is something outside of my life as a creative that people can connect to. So let me just give you a few announcements as we are probably wrapping up this the last creative checkup of this month. And continue to be doing this on Fridays. I'm going to kind of work out the schedule, but I believe we'll stick with Fridays at 3 o'clock Eastern. So if you're watching this on the replay, you can always watch it on the replay. But if you want to join us live, join us at 3 o'clock on Fridays Eastern, and that way you can join in the discussion. A couple of announcements. If you are interested in checking out our latest podcast, the podcast came out yesterday. It is with Hope Cherie. I don't know where I got Rose from. It is from Hope Cherie, and she is a inspirational artist, a spiritual soul artist, singer, currently working with Pharrell Williams and I believe it's Bishop Ezekiel Williams. I can't remember the last name of the bishop, but they have a show called Voices of Fire on Netflix. She's a part of that show. We just released that episode yesterday. It is incredibly inspirational. Hope will make you feel so much more encouraged when you hear what she has to share. That's godandgigs.com/112. So please go check that out on all podcast networks. You're going to love that show. And I also would love for you to check out our new membership community. If you need some more of this kind of encouragement, if you would like to have a hub where you can come to and you can find the spiritual encouragement you need, the practical knowledge on how to share your art, on scheduling, on how to craft your creative career so that you're never going it alone again, I would highly suggest you go check out godandgigs.com/free trial. Free trial, okay? That's going to give you a free trial of our God and Gigs 360 membership. That membership is now live, and I'm going to be talking about it a lot more. We're now getting people who are starting to join that group. It's been in beta for a while, but we're opening it up now to new people. There's going to be a member call on Sunday where we're going to share Q&A. We're going to do more of this, but we're going to dig even deeper into some topics, and you get to submit the questions, and we talk about it together as a group. It is extremely powerful. The people that are in this group are not just run-of-the-mill creators. These are people who have achieved incredible success. There's some Grammy winners in there. There's Stellar winners in there. There's poets in there. There's people who have worked on all kinds of tours all over the world, and they are ready to take their gift to the next level in a group community that will be sharing the details of how to do this the right way. Whether you're trying to build your creative career, your music career, whether you're trying to build an audience, whether you're trying to figure out what's your next pivot point, your next product, what God is doing in your life spiritually, how to deal with ministry and balancing these things out. If you need one of those things, God and Gigs 360, as you can see, I'm doing the circle. That's the whole point. It covers all those things. So I'm actually going to type that in, godandgigs.com/free trial. It will give you a 2-month free trial of this thing. That's right. I said 2 months. I sound a little bit like a a telemarketer right now, but it's so powerful that I have to share it and make sure that you realize that if you check this out, you can find the gifts, the talents that you have amplified because you're around the right people. And I really want to make sure that you take advantage of this. GodandGeeks.com/free trial. I'm actually going to even check that link myself to make sure it's working for you guys. Wait, did I show this one? Let's see. Hide, show. Let's see here. Oh, I didn't show these things right here. I have to tip these so they can show up. There we go. Ah, okay. I see where they're popping up. All right. That's it. God and Gigs 3 trial. Okay. So now, as I am closing up, if there are any questions, if anybody is watching and has any questions, if you have questions, even on the replay, make sure you put it in the comments because I can come back and answer those later, okay? So just to recap, if you need to know what to say day to day, just look around at the things that you are doing and try to form what are called pillars. These are pillars of your content, pillars of your life, things that can stand up and you can always go back to. So maybe it is stuff about your creative life. Maybe it is something about your music, the way you write music, the way you practice, why you practice, the things that you work on, the things that you care about. And make sure that you're always sharing people in a way sharing with people in a way that encourages them to have some dialogue with you, okay? Let them dialogue with you. Let them talk with you about these things and don't just talk at people or share only things that have to do with your creative life that are selling or that are giving or that are making, that are, I should say giving, that are, designed for you to take something. Try to make things that will give value to people, that will bless them and look at their mindset. And then when you do have an ask, you want to ask for something, you'll find it so much more palatable to them to be able to reciprocate because they've already seen that you have that desire to bless them first, okay? Thank you guys so much for joining this Creative Checkup. Once again, if you want to check out our God and Gigs 360 community, check out godandgigs.com/free trial. I see on IG, Doobie Powell, God bless you, sir. Amazing, amazing musician. Seeing you on that feed absolutely blesses my heart. So thank you for joining in. Shine in the Dark, Stephanie Murphy joined in. Who else do we have there? Sheldon joined in for a second. Didn't get a chance to wave at any of these guys. So I got to lean over and tap to make sure everybody saw that I saw them. Even though they might not be able to hang around, I want to make sure that they know I saw them. So once again, that's a Creative Checkup. Usually goes about 30 minutes every time I do this, so I'm not going to hang on too long. So I always want to check and make sure that anybody else wants to jump in with any kind of questions. But if not, make sure to join in next Friday for 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll start doing this Creative Checkup each week, and I know once we get more in the flow of it, people will know when to check in. But if you're watching on the replay, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure sharing with you. And once again, make sure to check out godandgigs.com/free trial to get a 2-month free trial, 60 days free trial of our newest membership where you can get all of your needs met spiritually, professionally, practically, and socially. Community that connects both your accountability, that helps you with your community, as I said, training and support. Kind of spells out acts, right? So accountability, community, training, and support are all there in God and Gigs 360. We just started our first week with our prayers and things like that, and now we're gonna have a member call on Sunday. But you gotta join in order to be a part of our member call where we'll start really interfacing and interacting with each other. Okay, so check that out, God and Gigs free trial. Hope this has been a blessing to you, and I'll see you guys next week on our next Creative Checkup. God bless.